Hey guys, welcome back. Another day, another video. I guess since we talked about protagonists and antagonists, and somebody asked the question, let's talk about sidekicks, supporting characters. Now, sidekicks are something of a genre-specific sort of character, if we're going to use that term. So if you're writing a story with them, this is going to matter more than if you're writing a story that doesn't really have that type of character. Sidekicks are, generally speaking, going to be your comedy relief, but that doesn't mean that that's all they are in the traditional sense. You could easily put characters like Han Solo into the sidekick character category, and yet they're sometimes the most interesting characters in the entire story. Captain Jack Sparrow, as a sidekick, is the most interesting character in the story. He's not the main character, he's not the character that the story is focused around, but he's the one that draws all the attention. These characters work really well as the secondary character. They don't tend to be able to hold a story on their own nearly so well, mainly because all of the traits that make them interesting tends to also make them irritating when they're the center of attention. It makes them less likable, it makes them less sympathetic. It can be pulled off. You can do a story based on them. I'm not saying you can't, but it is something you have to approach a little bit differently. Now, are all sidekicks the most interesting of characters? Not necessarily. You can get some properties, such as Harry Potter, for example, where you've got your obvious sidekick would be Ron Weasley, who definitely has the courageous, comedy relief sort of things that flip in there. He's definitely brave, but he also tends to be a bit bumbling. That's another sidekick trope that definitely shows up a lot. There's nothing wrong with a bumbling character. In that particular case, he's also, as I said, quite courageous, and he makes up for it in other ways. But in Harry Potter, the sidekicks were actually split up, and a lot of the more interesting characteristics fell over onto Hermione. Now, in that case, she's much less of a comedy relief, although she does have her moments. They're usually unintentional when it comes to comedy. For example, the infamous line is, we'll get expelled. No, we'll get killed. We'll be killed, or worse, expelled. Which is kind of the epitome of that character. It's the line that sums that character up perfectly, where being killed is like secondary to being expelled. And that's the different type of the sidekick. Sidekick characters tend to be a much wider spectrum than your hero characters. You can put a lot of interesting elements into those characters that may or may not fit so well when dealing with your hero characters. It allows you to explore things differently, and it will give you more options in your writing than having to rely on your hero character to figure things out, because the sidekick characters are actually usually either accidentally or intentionally more able to deal with a lot of the events that are going on. They provide a resource for your hero, and more importantly for you, to be able to write yourself out of bad situations. In summation, really, those characters are vital to that genre of story, that type of the epic storyline, the epic quests, because they allow you to break up the hero's narrative to keep it from dragging. So, anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. We'll be talking about, I don't know, figure it out by then. Keep writing, guys.